Hello again, Gills fans. Welcome back to Gills in the Blood TV. It is Monday review time, and Saturday was not pretty, was it? We travelled north to the Keepmoat Stadium to take on Doncaster Rovers, a very good side in this division, very possession-based, technically very good. They beat us 2-1, probably could have been 4 or 5-1. First half, beyond awful. Probably one or two players come out of that first period with any sort of credit. For me, that was Alex MacDonald and Carl Dempsey. Everyone else well below their best. Front two, I felt sorry for Dane Oliver and John Akinde, got absolutely no service. And yeah, Steve Evans has come out in his after-match interview and said that he'd have made 5 changes if he could. But obviously he couldn't make them all in one go. Second half, I tweeted, I think there's been a little bit of a misunderstanding. I tweeted at full time and said second half lots better, which it was, but that wasn't hard. It was never going to be that difficult to be better than the first half. The fact that we scored within 6 minutes meant that the entire performance was better than the first 45. But I wasn't insinuating that we did enough to draw the game, win the game or anything like that. Just merely that the second half was a lot better than the first. But if you look at it as a 90 minutes, we were well off the pace. So far from our best, so far away from what we've done in the last 5 games that have seen us unbeaten and win 4 out of 5. So yeah, just a really, really bad day at the office. Anyway, that's enough from me for now. I am going to leave you in the capable hands of someone you might recognise. It is Mr. Darren Stock, our very own Stocky. So I will leave you now with his match review from Saturday.
Afternoon, Gills fans. Cheers to Matt for having me on the Monday night review, where we're looking back on the 2-1 defeat at the weekend to Doncaster Rovers. For me, it was a very frustrating performance where we didn't have a lot of the ball and probably gave Doncaster a bit too much respect in that first half. The pattern of the game was decided pretty much from minute 1 to minute 45 in the first half. We didn't do enough to get possession of the ball from Doncaster. When we did have possession of it, all we was doing was lumping the ball up to Akinde and Oliver, and to be fair to them, although the service to them weren't great, when it did reach them, it wasn't sticking, and it was quite easy for Doncaster to retain possession. I think after that first half, we must have had about 15% possession, and yeah, it wasn't enjoyable to watch. I think we know that with this Gills team, with Evans in charge, the default tactic appears to be hit the ball long to players like Akinde, Oliver, Samuel, look to get the ball out wide and try and earn chances through stuff like throw-ons and corners. And to be fair, it does work at times, as has been proved in recent games, and we've also proved in recent games such as the Bristol Rovers game, where we can play football and design attractive chances and do well in getting the ball in the box that way rather than just going route one. But for me, against Donny, there was just one option that we tried, and that was to hit the ball long. And like I said, Akinde and Oliver, when they did get the ball, they didn't do enough to keep possession of it. Defensively, I think O'Connor struggled at left back against his colleague Josh Sims, who tore him absolute ragged. Slightly surprised that he wasn't taken off in a straight swap at half time for Medley. Alex MacDonald making way instead, as well as John Akinde at half time. Did feel a bit sorry for John. Although he hasn't scored, he has been playing well of late. I don't think you could have had any complaints if, any one of them players were taken off at half time, but unfortunately John seems to be the fall guy, and I don't know if Evans totally rates him or not. Second half, to be fair, we did come out a totally different team in that first 5 minutes. We was actually putting pressure on them and earned a goal through a good flick on through Oliver. Good finish by Dempsey, which seems to take an absolute age to go in as well. For me, I think Dempsey was probably the only outfield player that come out of that game, that whole 90 minutes, with any credit yesterday. It was a bad performance in general by the whole team. And although I've seen Evans' comments that second half we're better, which Matt has said as well, and I do agree in that respect that we was better than the first half, but for me it didn't mean that we deserved anything from the game. I think Doncaster deservedly take the 3 points, and to be fair, I think 2-1's quite a flattering score for us. Obviously, we had to push on the second half and try and go for it. They hit the post, and Bonham for the second goal, he'd made a brilliant save, but as Matt said on his match day live, Medley just appeared to switch off, and their right back got the winner. I said O'Connor had a bad game at left back first half. He got pushed further forward second. I don't think he was much better there, giving the ball away carelessly. Medley at left back for me didn't work, which was a shame because prior to him being out of the team, I thought he'd been doing well at left back, so it's quite frustrating. Like I said, Dempsey for me was the only real player that stood out from an outfield perspective. The game as a whole, other than the goal, the only chances I can think of is Ogilvie had a header that went just wide in the first half, and I think McDonald had a shot that hit the side netting, and then second half the only thing I can think of is Trey Coyle's chance where he's hit it just wide. For me, the frustrating thing is if we hit the ball forward, like I say, it normally goes to Oliver or Kinde, and they do well to hold it up. But Saturday, it just bounced off Kinde, Oliver. The balls up were just aimless. They were just straight, no angle on them, going straight to the keeper, straight to the centre back, and it was just far too easy. And I think the performance for me was summed up by the last free kick we had of the game. Bonham goes up, we've got 10 men in the box, Josh Eccles takes the free kick, and it goes straight to Joe Lumley. And for me, that just kind of summed up the performance yesterday. Hopefully it's a one-off. The good thing is that we got a game on Tuesday to look out for, Accrington Stanley. Obviously they've been doing well, and John Coleman deservedly won Manager of the Month. However, the curse seems to have struck because they lost 3-2 to Wigan yesterday. So I'd just like to hope that we can give them a bit more of a game, and if they're going to play football, that we actually get stuck into them and challenge them rather than stand off them like we did against Doncaster Rovers in the first half. Because for all their possession, they didn't do too much with it, but it was only going to be a matter of time. If you give a team that much possession of the ball, it's only a matter of time before they're likely to score. So all in all, not a great result. It doesn't define our season. I think that's kind of how it's going to go with us. We're going to go on a few game runs where we'll be unbeaten, and then we're going to be awful in others. But we're a Midland League One team, so that's kind of the expectation really for a club of our stature. I've seen a few comments about that Steve Evans should go, which I don't really understand. We're not going to attract a manager of his quality, especially in the middle of a pandemic when there's no real money coming into the club or in lower league clubs in general. So for me, that's not even an option. I think you just got to write it off as a bad day. We've had a few this season. We've had a few good days, but hopefully roll on to Accrington, get back on it, and get back to winning ways again.
I think Stocky sums it up pretty much spot on, doesn't he? Far too much respect we gave Doncaster. The fact that we had around 15-17% possession in the first half summed up us as a performance. We stood off, we gave them too much respect, we let them have the ball, we let them play through us. And I said on the match day live though that for all of their pretty football and their good possession based football, the goal actually comes from something slightly more direct where they clip it into an area and they get a little bit lucky with the bounce, but then it's a good finish past Jack Bonham, who had no chance. But yeah, they were certainly a million miles better than us in the first period. Like Stocky said, and I have to reiterate, second period was better. We had a good start, we scored a goal. It did seem to take an age to go in. I said on the match day live, I don't think Carl Dempsey caught it correctly, but it went right in the corner. And you thought, right, we're really in the game here. And then we switched off again, unfortunately. They break down our right back area. The ball comes into the box. Jack Bonham makes an unbelievably good save. Zach Medley switched off. Our fullbacks were really poor all afternoon. We seemed to have trouble dealing with them from wide areas. Ryan Jackson struggled with Reece Dames on the left-hand side. Tommy O'Connor had a really tough afternoon first half and then got switched further forward. Zach Medley come on and had a shocker, unfortunately. But it's not season defining, is it? This is the thing. I've seen so much overreaction for me on social media. We're doomed. You know, it's ridiculous. It happened the other week after Exeter. It's not a season defining result in the same way that beating Oxford and beating Blackpool didn't mean that we were going to go and get promoted or get in the playoffs or win the title. Losing to a Doncaster side that are probably in the top 6 or 8 come the end of the campaign doesn't mean that we're going to struggle. It's 1 defeat in 6 in the league. And it was a really bad day at the office. There's no point dressing it up to be anything different. I think I gave 2 people a 7. That was Carl Dempsey, who was comfortably our best player. I've seen people on social media again saying that he was anonymous apart from the goal. Couldn't disagree more. Constantly worked hard, constantly tried to pinch the ball. When we did have it, which was very little, he tried to make stuff happen and get us moving in the right direction. Not everything came off, but it comes back to that adage about they're League One footballers for a reason. Zach Medley, prime example. He was really good before his injury against Wimbledon. He's come back in yesterday, first league appearance for nearly a month. He's had a shocker. It's going to happen. But like I said, it's not going to be the be all and end all. And we've got a great chance at the moment with the way this season is that Tuesday night, 5:30 against Accrington, we can go and try and put it right. We can rectify what we did wrong at the weekend. And if we do that, I'm confident we'll get a positive result. The thing is, if we get something against Accrington and something can get Rochdale and take, 4 points from the next 6 available, Saturday quickly gets forgotten. What we've got to remember, because I've seen stuff on social media about Steve Evans has got to go. What train of thought are people looking at? Because I get that people don't like him for his past misdemeanours. That's fine. Totally understand that. People want to boycott the games, don't want to go and watch us while he's in charge. Fair enough. But get a new manager in. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We've got no cash, I'd imagine, because we've had no revenue through match days or anything else since February. So are we going to pay up his contract? And then who are we going to find that's better for us at the moment? Steve Evans' CV stands up against anyone at this level. We're a team now that looks up rather than down, thankfully. We're still only 5 points off the playoffs with a game in hand, I think, over 1 or 2 of the teams above us. I think if we win on Tuesday, we go level on points with Fleetwood. Everyone's tipping them to do really well this season, and they got to the playoffs last season. So I don't think it's quite a disaster. We lost 2-1. We were rubbish. Understand that. Probably not even that good. First half was 4 out of 10. Second half was 5, 6 out of 10. It wasn't enough to get anything out of the game, but it's not going to mean that we're getting relegated. Like losing to Exeter didn't mean that we didn't have to bother and go to Bristol Rovers the week after. We were too direct. We just didn't look like we had a game plan first half. That was the biggest concern for me. Second half, we changed the shape, was a little bit better, but Doncaster could have scored 4 or 5. They've hit the post. Jack Bonham's made a good couple of saves. But it's done. We move on to Accrington on Tuesday. They've been on a decent run of form until Saturday. 3-0 down to Wigan inside half hour. I think ended up losing 4-3 in a crazy game. So it'll be something that we can target. They clearly can see goals. There'll be a threat going the other way. They'll have a spell in the game where they'll cause us issues and we'll have to be better than we were at the weekend. For me, we won't get another performance like that. Steve Evans and Paul Rayner won't allow it, and I think that the players' professionalism won't allow it. I'm sure we'll make a couple of changes and switch it up a little bit and go from there. Positives and negatives. There's plenty of negatives, isn't there? Too much respect, stood off them, didn't have enough ball. I mean, I've been one that says possession's not everything, but you can't have 15% of the ball and expect to get something out of the game. And generally, everyone was well below their best. The positives were, okay, it's hard this week. Jacob Mellis come back from injury and got a good half hour. And then the other bonus was we thought he'd had to go off again because of a flare-up to that knee injury, but it wasn't. Steve Evans has confirmed he was only giving him half an hour. That's probably it this week, but it's done. We can't change it. All we can do is affect what we do moving forwards. Right, that is enough from me tonight. I'm sorry it couldn't be more positive, but if you watch Saturday, you'd understand why. Be back Tuesday, tomorrow night, with a match day live against Accrington. Back later in the week to look back on that and ahead to Saturday's trip to Rochdale. Please keep staying safe. Please keep looking after each other. And until next time, up the Dunes.